All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Why don't you guys give me an audio check, and we'll get into the live stream. So, if you're new to the live stream, which I know mostly this is about members do the live stream, but if you're new, then we cover stock market picks you guys want me to look at. So, oftentimes we'll find some good picks for the next week as well. And that's what this live stream is all about. Using the charts, obviously, we're going to go through. I'll give you analysis. Do your own analysis afterwards. If you have a stock you're really interested either in trading or investing or whatever, I'll give you kind of a brief look at it, and then you're going to want to dig into it, yourself. That's always important. I look at a lot of different charts all day, and I try to center in on the ones that just look the best. Try to find just really clean, good setups, and those are the ones that I really focus on. But if you guys have something different, then obviously. Okay, so we're gonna go for about an hour, and we'll look at the charts, look at your stock picks. Let's start off. My charts are gonna be messy, guys, because honestly, come Friday, my brain is pretty much fried, and I don't clean up my charts, and making multiple videos and all these member charts that I'm doing markup on, I basically don't always clean them up. So sometimes I go through on these live streams and clean them up. So again, daily chart here on triple Qs, we broke on Friday. All right, that's a breakdown of this trend line. If I roll down to the hourly, okay, look. There's support, kind of hit it right there. And then there's a break. It's an obvious and clean break. So I guess, from my perspective at this point in time, I think it's sell the rip. It's either sell the, that's what I'm looking for. So it doesn't mean that we can't rally from here, maybe a little bit for a back test. You've got resistance overhead. This was kind of former resistance that I was looking at. A couple reactions there. And so we could rally into that, maybe hit both those. But this trend line down here is the most important to me. It's not really this one up here. It's this trend line here. So I think there's a CPI reading that comes out either Tuesday, I believe. So maybe there's going to be some volatility around that. And what I would expect if they're going to, have some volatility, they could do a back test. I'd be looking to short back test at this point. That's what I'm going to be doing, guys. So I did take a position short into the weekend on triple Qs. Not a full-size position. I need a little more information to go to a full-size position. So, but if it wants to rally up there, I can add to it up there. And then on the downside, if we just drop down the 200-day moving average, there's probably going to be some battle going on there, a couple-day battle, I would think. So at this point, shorting down to the 200, I think is a decent short trade. And then, this trend line that we have, it's kind of a dual trend line coming off the bear market highs. Okay. So anywhere within here is going to be the area where I would think if there's going to be buyers and the bull, if there's bulls out there, that's where they're going to want to buy at. So that's likely where I'll want to cover at, and then just reshort it if we break down back into the trend. Okay. That's it. And if we break back down, then new lows. I would put very good probability that we're going to make new lows, taking out this level. This is a key level of support. The bulls will fight there again. I do not believe they will be successful. Okay, so what I would think is if we break back down here, we'll probably come down. The bulls will fight. Maybe we get a rally back to the trend line. I don't think so. I'm not going to bet it though. I don't think. I don't think I'll go long down there, and then that, but I would expect that drop to that 238 level. All right, we talked about that for a long time. Pre-COVID highs, there it is. And what I'd want to see is really impulsive selling, just like straight down kind of. All right, so that's the longer picture stuff and the shorter time frame. That's really all I have on triple Qs. So besides that, guys, I mean, it does seem like the market, the small caps actually look kind of interesting. Yeah, so see, here's the small caps IWM. We had some former resistance. It was about 189.90 or 190. Pretty much closed right on it, it looks like, right there. So we'll see what next week brings. Do we bounce here or do we drop? I think maybe a little bounce would make sense. Maybe we bounce on Monday and then drop on Tuesday. I don't know. All right, let's get into your guys' charts. Drop me a thumbs up if you haven't done so, and I'm going to just get into what you guys want me to look at. So I start at the top, work my way down. Garmin. All right. GRMN. I don't think I've charted this one. Yeah, fresh. Okay, so here's Garmin. So, there's the rally. These are all going to trade basically at the broad market. Look, here's your bear market in Garmin. Somewhere right in there. It's about right there. And, so we broke out. You're above the 200 day. You've got negative divergence that's building. Okay. So, there it is. And I think you broke trend on Friday or this week, I guess. Okay, so at this point, I think it's a sell signal, to be honest. They're going to try to fight the 200, but I suspect it'll give way. Maybe they fight it for a couple days. Maybe they back test. I don't know those things, All I know is we have a sell signal and what to do when we hit key levels. So, support is the 200, which I think should give way, and resistance would be a back test of the trend line. And I would be looking for lower prices. There's some support right here. That's good support. So that would be a target for sure. Right in there at about 89, 89.50, somewhere right in there. Excuse me. Okay, so that's where I think this heads, and that would be a drop of 7% or so. Obviously, it could break back down into the trend line. I wouldn't be betting that right now. I'd just look for that level right there. You got earnings coming up, so probably going to happen on earnings, I guess. All right, XLF. Yeah, I like XLF short, guys. Financials looks like a short to me. I'm not short financials. I'm short JP Morgan, which is the largest one in the financials. So, in essence, I'm short XLF. Negative divergence. We can say it hasn't broken trend yet, so maybe I'm a little early, but I think it's going to go. And yeah, so if you want to wait, you could wait for a break of the trend. Target on the downside, because look, they can chop up, make a new divergent high. They could do that. So maybe I'm a little early, but if it breaks, you've got these reaction lows, you know, right in there. That looks like a support level. And then you've got one right about there. Maybe I'd tighten it up, look at the hourly and kind of tighten that up. But you've got one right about there. That's 34.50. So anytime I put out a level, give it a little bit of a range, you know. I might not be perfect on the penny. Sometimes I am, but, you know. Anyways, that's a drop. Yeah, 5% down to that one. I think you probably come down to these lower levels, though. Good support here at 31. 30. That's your pre-COVID highs. So, yeah, down there. Thanks, Mr. Bear. Appreciate that. Appreciate that hippopotamus super chat. Did you make money on a pick I had this week? Hoping you did. All right, so that's it. XLF lower is what I think, but we haven't broken trend, so we don't have an official sell signal yet on that one. All right, CrowdStrike, Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft. So I think you're at kind of this support level right now. We'll see what happens. But look, this is your bear market in Microsoft. All right. Broke out here. Closing pretty much right there at support. So we can't definitively say that the buyers aren't going to step in right here and bid it up for another leg higher. I can't say that. So, however, the triple Q's broke trend. So what I would be looking for, if it is going to kind of hold up in this area for a little bit, I would look for it to start to build negative divergence, which means you'll make a new high, but it'll start to build negative divergence on the daily. And it might take a while where it just kind of grinds around, pops, makes little highs, fails, pops, like that. And it'll be a divergent high. And then that would signal, okay, this is likely going to be a big bull trap and fail. That's all just speculative future stuff, so I don't exactly know. As of right now, it's at support. So until that trend line breaks, I don't know what's going to happen. If I look at the hourly, you've got some negative divergence right there. So that's a divergent high here, and so is this one. Doesn't mean it can't extend. We could pop up, make a new divergent high, just extend this divergence. Then it'll start showing up on the daily. So that's something that could happen. For me, it's at support. I would need to see this level go for the sell signal. And that's going to help firm up the that triple Q's short as well. So that's it on Microsoft. And then on the daily, I mean, you break back within this bear trend. It's very bearish because that means this is a false breakout bull trap. That tells me that if that happens, so it's all conditional, right? If something happens, then it's likely that that something else will happen. And that's what trading is. It's all conditional. So if we break back within the trend, likely going back down to... For some reason, I have this level here, 227. I don't know if I am really like that. There's also this 219 area. But anyways, I think we're heading back down in that area. All right. So that would be that. SMCI. All right. Let's check out SMCI. Super microcomputer. So it's tech. This is coming off 2018. So there's it's a bearish rising wedge. You know, broke to the upside. Negative divergence is extending. This thing's going down. I would put good money that it's gonna go down. I don't exactly know when, but look. Okay, I'll show you. Look. Here's a divergent high, right, on the daily chart. So look, you made a high here. There it is. There's a divergent high. And look at that little candle right there. That's pretty much another divergent high. Just popped up, made a new divergent high, and the sellers were in there. Look what, I mean, I'm not the only one that sees that. So they see that, they smash it down. And from that divergent high, it was sold. It was down, what, 7%? So the sellers were stepping in when it made that new divergent high. No real follow-up on, and also this is a doji. This is a shooting star or whatever they call it. I don't care about the names. It's a doji, which tells me it's a potential reversal candlestick. And no follow-through, really. So, you know, this thing seems to get a lot of dojis like that. There's one. But again, I think we'll probably roll over. That's how I'd have to bet. And then if I look at the hourly, you can probably just watch this hourly chart here. See that support, that little support trend right there? Basically right in there. 1, 2, 3. Look for the break of that, and that would be your sell signal. And then if you get that, you go back to the daily, and you're probably, I would put decent odds that you're probably heading back down to this trend line and the 200-day moving average for another test, and ultimately probably going to fail and head back into this range. Okay? And then I would look to the bottom of the range, and that would be my final target for now, would be the bottom of the range. And that's all very conditional, but that's how I work it out in my mind. So hopefully you were able to follow along. Crowdstrike. Okay, so Crowdstrike, there's the level of support I've had. Closed at support. Well, just slightly above support. Support's about 107.50. It's above that until that breaks. You know, it's in, that's it. All right, it's support. So that's support. Resistance, I feel like, is up here at 124.50. And you're just, there you are. Trade the range. But, you know, I'm starting to look at shorts in tech. So, especially the semiconductors, they look really shortable for some reason. And maybe they'll maybe they'll lead, and then the rest will follow. That's, you know, typically how it works. What is it? SPHB. S&P 500? What is this? I mean, I don't know about this. You know, this is going to follow the S&P 500, so just go with my SPY analysis. And, you know, I mean, look, you had a sell signal. I mean, it's pretty obvious. All right, there it is. Sell signal. Bearish PPO crossover. It's bearish. All right. But just the S&P 500 analysis will help with that one. UNG, yeah, I'm long UNG. I actually added a little bit more to it on Friday. And, you know, I don't have a huge position here because you don't need much. Let's say you put, like, if you normally trade like 10,000 or 20,000, let's say you trade 10,000, you know, I for me, at least my risk tolerance on this thing, because, again, this thing can just drop or can spike. That's kind of how it works. So you don't need a lot in order to be very profitable. So like 0.25% kind of thing is what I do. And whatever that might be for your the amount that you trade. I know I got a comment from one person. I don't always understand your guys' comments because I'm just reading. I don't understand the perspective and everything. But someone kind of mentioned how they like lost a bunch of money on JP Morgan, and I was kind of trying to think about how that's possible, because I look at my JP Morgan trade, it's not profitable yet. I'm down, I think, about 0.5% or, you know, something like that. And but that, I mean, that's well within the risk tolerance from the position that I have. So I'm just thinking, like, they must have loaded up on that one position, and it just, you know, they couldn't take any kind of losses. They had to be right that very instance. It's kind of, if that's true, and I don't know if it is, but that's an amateur move when it comes to trading, is to like pick one single trade and say, this is the trade that's going to work. I know this is the one that's right. Full, you know, all in on that one. And I'm going to be right now at this very moment. Guys, that's one reason I don't trade options, because the time element. I don't you know, I just want to be right. I don't have to be right today. You know, I just want to be right, you know, tomorrow, the next week, whatever. I just want to be right within, you know, and not to a point where I get stopped out or need to pull the trade out. So, you know, if you're too heavy in a position, you're not going to be able to, you have to be right, you know, from the very moment you take the trade. And that's just not the style of trading that I teach. From if you have to trade that way, I think you need to probably do some research on momentum trading, which ultimately is like closer to day trading and just like jump in on spiky momentum and jump out, you know. And it's, for me, it's way riskier. You know, I've tried to be successful in that, and it's way riskier. I think a lot of it doesn't work. UNG, breakout of the downtrend. All right, resistance right here about 888. You can see we had some reactions. So you hit that, back test, right back up to it. I think we're gonna break. I think we're gonna break out. That's what I'm guessing. And if we do, you know, there's a level right here about 944. There's a kind of little levels all along the way. We'll also need to look at nat gas, the futures, but little level here. Okay, so 944 or so, 10, 20, 11 bucks. We'll go with those three levels for now. If we spike, I mean, if you get all the way up there, that's a 24% gain. Okay, so I think that's very doable. And I think there's probably a lot more, to be honest, but that's what I got. So we'll just kind of put it together as it goes. Someone asked if it's worth taking pre-market or pre-earnings plays like Lyft if they have no access to after hours. I think it is, yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't trade in the after hours a whole lot. Occasionally I will, like with Lyft. And honestly, if I held on to my Lyft, or if I covered my Lyft in the regular session, I would have made even more money. But that's okay. I mean, if I make like 20% in, you know, 25% in a 2-day period, I take my profit. All right, I take that money and run. And so on this one, I mean, look, the sell signal was here, all right, and we had this bearish rising wedge, so it was a completely clear setup to me. Big bearish engulfing candle, follow through. It couldn't get more bearish than that. So from my perspective, I was just going to add to a short if it rallied on earnings. I figured, okay, maybe they'll pop it. I can add to the short, then it'll go down. That's what I was thinking. Or if it just gaps down, I'll just take my profit. And that's, you know, so I think, you know, you can wait for after hours. If you're on, as long as you have bearish setups, the chart, the trade here wasn't about the after hours trade. The trade was this setup, okay? And so I wasn't expecting it to drop that massive amount on earnings, but I was expecting it to drop. So for me, it was more of like, okay, does it do that, you know? And I was, you know, so I was looking for downside. It just did, regardless, the bear setup was there. You know, after hours is not important, and for the most part, the big institutions don't trade in the after hours. They don't have the liquidity. They can't move huge amounts of money, you know. So now Lyft is, I think, near support. I think there's, you know, I think we'll chop around here, but this is really more of an area of support. So there might be a long bounce trade here. Not yet. I don't see it yet. I'm not going to just step right in. All right, so that's that. All right, where am I? I'm just going through the list, guys. PHG. Let's see what this one is. Medical specialties. So there's your negative divergence on the daily, you know. I don't know. Not a clean trend line. I can't really call that a trend line. I only have 2 data points, but if I had to guess, maybe you'd come down to it. That's, the most, I have negative divergence on the daily. It's not that clean of a chart, to be honest, but that would be my guess. And it's just that's a loose guess on that one. AAWW. A lot of these Ford symbol ones. Alice Air Worldwide. Nah, this is like a buyout or something, huh? Like, I don't know. They got bought out. There's an acquisition here or something. I don't know. I'll move on. Nothing going on with that one. WMG. All right, so this is mine. This is the one that I've talked about. I still like it, bearish. Here's how I played it. So I had a position. It gapped down on earnings. I didn't see it in the morning gap down, but still on earnings it was down. As it rallied up, I added to it on the rally towards the, like right in here, I basically added to my short. It went down. I covered that short that I added, and I still have a somewhat small position now on this. I think it'll drift lower. And after earnings, it hit that 32.43. That's the level I had as support. And so sure enough, bounced. But again, it has the negative divergence on the daily. It's broken the trend. So I think it will drift and ultimately probably break. There's a thin zone. Well, kind of a thin zone right in here. I mean, I think ultimately you're going to head down to the 200 day. I'd say that's probably what I'd be willing to give this one. So that's it on that one. XLRE, that's your energy, right? Oh no, real estate. Sorry, I was thinking XLE. Same setup as the triple Qs and everything. So this will likely go with the triple Qs. And interest rates. If you look at TLT. Oh, I don't know why I don't have. It looks like there's. Oh, see, look at that. So there's. This is TLT, which is interest rate. This is what it's going to give us our interest rates basically, and support, sell signal. Okay, negative. Yeah, close enough. Negative divergence, sell signal. Okay, and then so that your interest rates would be like TNX. And it's probably like it's basically the inverse of TLT. See, breakout in interest rates. Interest rates just broke out. So again, if this holds and interest rates continue to break out, you're going to see a spike in interest rates. You're going to see tech drop, and you're going to see XLRE drop as well. So what I would be looking for, I don't see divergence on the daily. Okay, so we don't have that. On the hourly, I'm sure it's there. Yep. So there's your, there's your negative divergence on the hourly. Okay, so that's a spike high, divergent high, island cluster top on the hourly chart. If I look at the daily, island cluster reversal. Oh, sorry, not a cluster, just an island reversal. It's not a cluster. It's just on the daily. It's just a single candle. But potential island top and negative divergence. I don't know. I would, I think we're gonna have a false breakout, bear trap or bull trap, and boom, do that. But again, no sell signal really. We break back into the channel. That's your sell signal. All right. Yeah, STNG. I know I'm not in this one. I threw it out as a trade idea. I still kind of like it, but it's got earnings coming up. Here's what I got on it. If upward channel here, negative divergence. It's been diverging for a while. Broke, back tested. It's got a clear breakdown. Now look, they just ripped this thing right in. I think this is still a back test. Yes, they have recovered the channel, but they do that a lot of the times. When I say they, it's like market makers and stuff. When you get to key levels, the market makers, the big institutional trading desks, they run their money and run stops, and this is what they do in order to take big positions. So if I was a market maker and I wanted to short, do I want to short my big position right here at resistance? Yeah, you can do that, but everybody wants to short there, right? Because it's just a key critical level, low risk. So if I have a big amount of money that I want to short and everybody else wants to short right there, I can't put my money to work because it just, you just drop and I end up getting a bad position. The better way to do it is to pop it over here. So now anybody who was maybe shorting here, they give up and they say, oh, I'm going to cover. All right, so they're covering. And if you're covering, you're buying, right? And then anybody who's maybe a bull says, oh, that was a false breakdown, so I want to buy now. So you have buyers, basically. There's buyers right in here. And if I want to short a big position, I want to sell, you want to short against the buyers to take the position. Now you have earnings, so I think what will happen is it'll break down to after earnings. But again, it's a higher risk trade. Anytime you go into earnings, it's definitely a higher risk trade. So one way to do it is maybe have a half position and then add to it. But if it gaps down huge, maybe you just take your profit on that half position. Okay, so that's the best I can do on that. I don't know which way it can go. If earnings is positive, they could rally it up to this trend line, which I can't even see, but it's way up there. Okay. If it does that, that's probably going to be another divergent high and likely an objective area to short up there. All right, that's all I have. All right, I'm going to just scan around, look at a few of these that look interesting. I'm looking to be a buyer on gold stocks here shortly. I need a little bit more. I think there's a little more downside, and then I'll probably be a buyer. Someone asked about gold, like Barrett Gold, one of my favorites. It's just because it's a large cap, not a large cap, but it's a second largest gold miner, but it's not indexed to the S&P 500 like Newmont is. So it's one of my favorites. Because if I want a gold play, I want a pure play on gold and the miners without the S&P interrupting that, because these things can rally when the S&P is coming down. So these are the levels I have right now. I've got 1757, the 200-day. I think it's likely we're at least going to hit the 200. We're right there. It should suck it. It should suck the price down to the 200, possibly down to the 1645. I don't see much lower prices than that. To me, this looks like a buy zone. Probably even the 200 is likely a buy zone. From where we're at now, it's a drop. And we have earnings coming out. So when's this earnings? Is that Wednesday? So if I had to guess, the earnings are going to be bullish. Only because, look, on the daily, no divergence, right? Like we had the negative divergence on the daily right there. We did just break down. So clearly a bearish chart. But the breakdown's already happened, it's already down 8%. So maybe we got a little more downside. And then on the, but the major target of this wedge is like you take the widest part of the wedge, so it's somewhere down. Again, to me, the major target's down there. We've got lots of support down there. Looks like the buy area down in that area. If I go to the hourly, then you'll see that we've got bullish divergence starting to show up on the hourly. And potential trend line right there to watch. So again, I think there's one more move lower. and then it looks like a buy down there, but we'll have to see. If we drop down here, I'll look across the gold sector and see what's going on before just, issuing, that I'm buying. Okay. Lennar, that's another home builder. They've been pretty resilient. I've been this DHI one, it's just not really working. So, I think it still will work, but we go to the daily. We have negative divergence. If interest rates start rising, or look, here's the thing. We just had the breakout on interest rates, right? So this should start to work to the downside. If it doesn't, then something's wrong. and we probably just need to get out of it. Okay, so I'm really at the point of I'm now expecting this to work pretty much right now or next week, I guess. And if it doesn't and it's not selling off, something's wrong. So that's it. And, so if you're in this trade, my targets, I really like this one, 78, 85, 8, and also 86 area. First level support's right there, it looks like, at about 90, 91.75, something like that. Okay, so that's what I think on that. And again, Lennar is going to be the same. TSN, what is that one? Tyson Foods. So, bullish divergence. All right. So I would be looking for a long on this trade. Look at that gap down on earnings. I would, potential for a island cluster reversal. Okay. So maybe if it gaps up, that would be an island cluster reversal. This one, if I had to guess, I would say bullish. I can't make a super clean trend. Okay. I've got that, but that's not 2 points doesn't make a trend. 1, 2, I can't make a trend. So maybe that ends up being it, this cluster here, because I have a cluster right there, I think I'll leave it. But yeah, I'd be more bullish on this one than anything. Looking on the hourly, I can't make anything that tells me a buy signal. So look for that potential gap up, and that would be your probably your reversal. You could go long on this on a gap up, okay, with a stop. You could just I'd probably just set my stop basically right there at below the lows at 59, something like that. Gap up, you go long, trade it into this potential trend line. That would be the trade, and then obviously if you break out, then could continue to be a long. But for me, I'd probably just look for the trade for right now. Okay, that's all I have on that one. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Sims. Appreciate that. Do you think you can do some kind of Q&A event some weekend? What did you have in mind, Sims? Let me know what you had in mind. I mean, I think, I give an hour on Saturdays, most Saturdays. I think that's about as much as I want to commit to the channel, because I am, doing a lot. But, I enjoy the markets and trading as well. So but what did you have in mind for the Q&A? What kind of questions? I mean, what would that be about? I don't give, I'm not going to answer personal questions about myself. I value my privacy, my anonymity, I guess is one way to say it. I don't think I'm important. At the end of the day, it's not me that is important, right? It's the information. As long as I'm right, I suppose, on the information, or most of it. Can't be right on it all. Then again, you guys tune into my channel because you're interested in the trade ideas, not necessarily in me. I'm not the most interesting person, I suppose. But so yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could do a Q&A, but I don't know what you'd want to ask. All right, where are we at, guys? All right, hey Maven, the value you giving and what we making with you should charge more than $5 is, yeah, I might charge more than $5. We'll give it a little bit. I had a few people. I put out a poll a couple weeks ago, and because again, here's the thing. I feel like I'm giving a lot more value than $5 because I trade most of these trades that I put out, at least the ones that I really focus in on. I'm trading them, typically with my own money. So I know the kind of money I make, and so I would pay what's $5? $5 a month. And so I feel like my private member group is way undervalued. Because again, guys, I'm not out there like, oh, this is a day trading channel, we're all going to get rich, and just putting out like donkey stuff. You know, I mean, there's like so many channels on YouTube, like Meet Kevin, and I mean, it's just entertainment. You know, the guy's entertaining. He's a goofball, but entertaining. And so I understand following him for entertainment value, but for investment and trading advice, he was like flipped into the stock market in 2020 when everything was going up. And I was telling everybody, I said, look, you know, everything's going up. You could pick anything. Everything's going up. And not to say that I was like extremely bullish, but I was just telling people in my personal life, you know, they all felt like they were genius stock pickers. And you know, and that guy was like throwing out all these like stocks and giving fundamental reasons, and you know, it was, I mean, come on. Anyways, yeah, that's so I feel like my private member group's worth more than $5, but you know, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not here to like gouge you guys or anything like that. I mean, we'll give it a little while. I don't know. I was going to double it to $10. I feel like $10. It's $120 a month. If you traded Lyft with me this week, okay, and you put $1,000, everybody's got their own amount of money, but let's say you put $1,000. That's, I mean, I feel like you're not trading if you don't have $1,000. All right, so the sell signal came right there. So let's say you waited to the very end of the day to take the sell signal. I gave you guys a setup well in advance. All right, so I mean, all right, so if you took that sell signal and let's say you didn't trade in the after hours and you just closed it right when the market opened, you'd make 33%, okay, in about 2 days. So that would have paid you $330. Okay, so that would have doubled the amount that you paid for a $10 membership in 3 days on one trade. Now, yeah, okay, I can't give you guys all winners like that, and obviously there's going to be losers, so we got to manage our risk too. All right, so yeah, I don't know. I might increase the price. I feel like it's fair, to be honest, but and maybe I'll lose some members, but I'm never going to be able to please everyone at every price point. You know, I mean, I could just give the stuff away for free and I would have infinite amount of members, you know, but yeah, I don't want to do that. All right, I'm just scanning now. I don't have a whole lot more time. I do have to actually drive to go do something. So I'm just going to kind of scan for some interesting stuff. Pfizer, PFE. Yeah, that one looks like a short. I believe I was looking at that. Let me take a look. Well, was a short, definitely right there. So you got bullish divergence on the hourly, nothing on the daily, maybe a small rally here. I can't say that's a trend line. Yeah, you know, someone asked, let me finish this up and then I'll talk about that real quick. So I don't know. What I think maybe a rally. You could get to the 200. I don't know. There's resistance right here as well, about 45.50 or so. So for now, that's probably all I'd be looking for. And then maybe down. I don't know. A little mixed on that one. Someone said, why not just have different tiers for different levels of the membership? I could do that, and that's actually the easy way that they make it to set it up in YouTube. But the thing is I don't want to have to keep track of who's in what tier and who gets what, and you know, who like send out trade ideas for this tier but not that tier. I don't need that complexity in my life. And the thing is, guys, if you notice my trading strategy and my trading style, you know, I try to keep things relatively simple, because at the end of the day, we've got charts. we've got emotions, we've got the media pumping and doing everything that they do. We've got all these different signals and voices and influences that, you know, we need to keep it simple and that I think that's key. So I look to do the same thing with the member group. What I'd rather do, honestly, is just bump the price up, you know. Oh, excuse me, I had to sneeze. Bump the price up a little bit, you know. The people that don't, you know, that don't like it, that think that's overpriced, they can leave, and the people that find it valuable, they can stay. And that's, you know, it's fine. It's fine with me. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm not gonna bump it yet, guys. I just don't feel like bumping it yet. All right. Let's see here. I'm gonna go through some more trades. Coin. Coin? Yeah, let's look at coin. That could be an interesting one. I love shorting these pump stocks. Yeah, it's already started. Earnings coming up. Bearish PPO crossover. I have to get down to the hourly because this thing basically went parabolic. This, I mean, in general, there's your sell signal. It's already kind of down, but see that big red candle? From the breakdown, it's already down, what, 15%? I'm not interested in shorting this. Down 15%, although I can easily see it coming down a lot more. But right before earnings, already down. I missed the, you know, you missed the entry. Yeah, too high risk for me. Netflix. Let's take a look at Netflix. Okay, so your negative divergence is showing up on the PPO, and it is there on the RSI now. If I zoom in, and this is a daily chart, so there you can see right there just starting to show up. So these were divergent highs, divergent high, and that's kind of a divergent high. Okay, so we have that divergence pretty much on both momentum indicators. We've got this bear. This is a big bearish rising wedge basically, and we broke to the upside. I suspect it's going to fall back within the wedge. It's probably right. It's basically right at close to support. Your support is right there at about 343 ish. You break back into that wedge, you're probably going to the bottom of the wedge. Okay, so that's the trade for me. Break back in, sell signal down to the bottom of the wedge, maybe catch a 10 to 13% drop, and that's about as much as I'd be willing to let it go, unless you see a break at the bottom of the wedge, and then you got a bigger sell signal. Support that it could do this as well, and I would put decent amount of odds that it did. There's some support right there. So look, you come down, hit the wedge, then break, hit that support, decent support at 278, recover. I don't know, just speculating. For me, it's lower risk, you know, or I mean, it's higher risk trying to figure it out down here, whereas it's an easier trade to see the break back within the wedge and catch it down there. That's the trade that I like. Okay, so that's that. Beyond Meat. Oh, and the other thing, guys, I always check my GME meter. I do it. I don't always tell you about the channel, but the GME meter to me is a hot money meter, okay? Because look, the rally that we just had, let me just go back. Like, the rally that we just had is mostly in tech, and it had the bulls foaming at the mouth, and I think they're still foaming at the mouth because look, it's just like straight up. Bear market rallies do that. It sucks in all the longs, all the people that have really only dealt with this kind of price action for, you know, I mean, going all the way back to 2009. And look, this is a bull market, and a lot of the people, younger people especially, like that's their entire investing life. And so that's all they know. So they're just it's recency bias. They just continue to look for that. They think this is just a brief dip on the continuation of this. Okay, and I I am begging. I think it's different. I think we're in a bear market. I think that bull trend that was 10, 12 years long has now ended, and we're now in a bear trend that will last multiple years. That's my broad thesis. And but this kind of stuff gets them supercharged back into their longs and things like that. And so what I look for is GME, you know, because the market, when it starts getting extremely overconfident, they jump into, you know, this kind of crap. And I look, okay, when this starts selling off, you know, that's the end of the rally. So that's what I got. I think we're starting to roll over. And going back to that other one, which was Beyond Meat, it's kind of a meme stock. I don't know why, but kind of is, I guess. Bearish PPO crossover. No negative divergence on the daily. It's probably there on the hourly, but it's not on the daily. You have negative divergence on the RSI, but not on the PPO. So, not my favorite. Not my favorite, to be honest. It'll probably do what the market does, but again, it's, you know, yeah, I don't know. It looks very similar to triple Qs, but not my favorite. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more, and then I'm going to get wrapped up. Cultivation Tea, thank you for the super chat. Hey, guys, I appreciate all those super chats. It's really encouraging to show that I'm providing enough value to you that you're willing to, you know, give me some of your hard-earned money and show appreciation for what I'm doing. So I do appreciate that. Definitely not required, but it is, you know, it's encouraging. So I thank you for that. I'm going to do 2 more. Oh, I just looked at GME. So I'm going to scan through here. And then we'll go ahead and let's see here. I'm just looking for some ones that look interesting. CTRA. I don't know what that is. Let me just take a quick look. Energy. Bullish. Okay. I'd be bullish. Bullish divergence on the daily. It's there on both momentum indicators. You've got a downtrend line. So there's, you know, you've got a downtrend. Can't really make a super clean downtrend. So I don't like that. I love to have a trend I can trigger off of. That's about the best I can do. Earnings coming up. So, you know, it's a little sketch. But if it breaks, I think this little trend line is okay. And if it breaks that, then you probably run up to the 200. And that's about as much as I'd be willing to. There's a little pivot level right here. Oh, I grabbed that tool. It's right about there. They'll chop through it. You can see they kind of chop through it. But to me, it looks like a pivot level. So, okay, so look, you take out, let's just keep it simple. Take out 25.50 on a daily close, or, you know, sometimes if you wait till the end of the day, it's already kind of run away from you. So, you know, you have to, on an hourly close, you have to give it, but yeah, then it shouldn't run up to the 200. And that would be a potential trade of about, 10%. So that's one. That's interesting. And then one more, guys, and then I do have to get going. Anybody have anything else? I got 57 likes and 100 concurrent people. So if you haven't hit that like button, please do so. And trying to see, let me kind of, I guess I can just see if there's anything interesting I saw. I mean, I think these you guys want me to just do a quick run through on the semiconductors? I mean, those to me look like not Alcoa. The semiconductors look pretty interesting. Like, obviously you start with NVIDIA because it's the big powerhouse, but look, sell signal right there, guys. So upward trend. I mean, look, this just went parabolic, pretty much parabolic, straight up 63%, and honestly, yeah, all the way down from here up 110%. Okay, from the lows. That's a good rally, and I think that rally just ended. All right, so there's your upward trend line. There's your sell signal and your breakdown. Okay, we need one more thing to help us confirm. Well, I think we'll get it next week, but you see the PPO right here. I'd like to see that cross. All right, bearish crossover, and then there's no negative divergence on the daily. We don't necessarily have to have that. Okay, but we don't have it. It's there on the hourly, right there. So it's a sell signal, all right? Support, 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 you know, kind of a gap down and sell off. So we could, you know, so again, we could back test. Maybe that's what we'll have to do, all right? Maybe we'll put a negative divergence on a back test. But for me, I'm selling the rip. So it's a trend trade here, not just like a day trade or I think it's a trending trade. So if it wants to rally up and go like that and make a new high into resistance and put in negative divergence on the daily, that's a beautiful setup. So I think what it could do is sell down, turn down, then maybe rally up for a slightly new high, put in negative divergence, okay, and then down we go. So I like it here. I have a position in it, and I'll add to it as things start to shape up and firm up. And that's all I got, guys. So have a great weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday. All right, take care.